Now, if Ayin Beis, Amud Beis, I'll begin Ayin Beis, Amud Aleph, right at the bottom. Itma niskaven lagvias atos v'chatach esamechuba. If a person intended to pick up something from the ground that was not attached, was detached, and inadvertently he cut something which was attached to the ground. So cutting something that was mechuber to the ground, which was growing from the ground, that's a malacha, that's ksir. But he did not intend to cut something from the ground. And in fact, he didn't even intend to cut. He intended lahagbia, to lift up something which was detached. So over here, he is potter. Because over here is a misasek. He did not have the intent to do the action that he did. He had no intent to do the action that he did. It's not a shoygeg where he's chai v'chatos. A shoygeg is he forgot it was Shabbos, or he forgot this malacha was awesome. That's a shoygeg. Forgetting something about the Isser, forgetting that this is also, that this action is also to do today. But over here, he did not intend to do this action at all. So there he's certainly potter. But if it's lachtach as a tolush, but if he had intent to cut something that was not attached, so he did not intend to do a malach. He intended to cut something which was tolush, v'chatach as a mechuber, but in fact he cut something which was growing from the ground. Do we consider, the question is, do we consider this to be a misasek or not? Now he did not intend to cut something growing from the ground, but he intended to cut. So Rava Amar Palto, Abai Amar Chayiv. So Machlokes Rava and Abai. Rava Amar Palto, he says Palto, the Halin is Gamel Chatich de Isura. Because over here he did not intend to do a Chaticha the Isura, to do an Isur. He wanted to cut, but not something which was also. So therefore he holds that this is considered a misasek. Abaya Amar Chayev, Amis Kavel Chatich Ba'alma. But Abaya says that he is not considered a misasek because he intended to do chaticha. Now, it's true that he did not intend to do chatich the Yisura, but he did intend to do chatich the cut, so therefore you cannot consider him a misasek. But Rava says he's potter because halin iskam l'chatich hadisur. Some of the Meforshim want to be medayik, and be medayik in Rashi in particular, that the ptur is because he did not intend for chatich deisur. Well, let's say, for instance, that he intended to cut one item growing from the ground, and he inadvertently cut a different item. So he intended, let's say, to cut carrots, and instead he cut lettuce. Now, in both cases, he intended to do a chaticha d'isura, but he did not intend to do the chaticha that he in fact did. Someone would be madayik that Rava would agree in this case that it is also, it's not considered a misaseh because he intended to do a chaticha d'isura. Al kolpanim, in this case, we have a machlekes. Amar Rava min amin Allah. What's my raya? What's my raya that we say that since he did not intend to rachaticha d'isur that he's potter? The sign is we learn in the following brisa. Now Gemara is going to quote the brisa. We'll analyze this brisa, and on Dafayin Gimel we'll bring the raya. Rava's a raya from this brisa. But first we have to quote the brisa and analyze it. So the brisa says Chaim Shabbos Mishar Mitzvah is that Shabbos has a chumrah over other mitzvahs for Chaim Mishar Mitzvahs, and Chaim Mishar Mitzvahs Mishabbos, and in a different respect, other mitzvahs have a chumrah over Shabbos. Chaim Shabbos Mishar Mitzvahs. What's the chumrah that Shabbos has over other mitzvahs? Shabbos also Shnayim B'Helam Echad Chayav Al Kol Achas V'Achas. By Shabbos, if he does two B'Helam Echad, if he does two malachas without realizing it in between, with one act of forgetfulness, he's chayiv on each one. Mashen Ken B'Shar Mitzvahs, which are other mitzvahs are not like that. And again, the Gemara shortly will analyze this. And there's a chumrah other mitzvahs have over Shabbos. Shebishar mitzvahs shagag v'loy miskaven chay. In shar mitzvahs, other mitzvahs, if he was a shoygeg without kavana, he's chay. Mashen ken b'Shabbos, and Shabbos is not he's not chay. Now the Gemara will discuss and analyze this. Omar Mar Chaimer Shabbos Mishar Mitzvahs Shabbos also Shtayim Behelam Echad Chayav Halachas V'Achas Mashen Kim Mishar Mitzvahs. So Shabbos has a chumrah over other mitzvahs that if he does two malachas Behelam Echad with one act of forgetfulness, he's Chayav Achatos in each one, which is not the case but Shar Mitzvahs. What's the case here? What are the circumstances? If you'll say perhaps that he did, for example, he did the malach of ksira, and he did the malach of tchin of grinding, and he did it without realizing in between the two that he's chayv achatas, so what's the analogy? What's the comparison to other mitzvahs? So you'd say, well, achol chelev v'dam. If he ate chelev, and then with the one helam, he ate dam. There's no difference between the two. He'd be chayiv two chatos for ksira and tchina, and he'd be chayiv for chelev and dam also too. So that can't be the case. So what's the case by shar mitzvahs that you say he's only chayiv one? He ate one kazayis of chelev, and in the same helam, without realizing that he's chayiv chatos, he ate a second kazayis. So it's behelam echad. He's only chayiv one chatos. So the gavasa gabi Shabbos. Well, then Shabbos is the same because the avik ksira ksira hachacharam b'chayiv hachacharam b'chayiv. Then the analogy with the Shabbos would be he did ksira, and he did the same thing. He did ksira again. It's behelam echad, and Shabbos also he's only chayiv one. It's only for different malachas that he's chayiv separately, but if it's the same malacha over and over again, he's only chayiv one. So what is the case? What is the case that Shabbos has a chumrah over shar mitzvahs? The Gemara says, Lo elam davar ksira tchila. The case in Shabbos is he did ksira, and then he did a different malacha. For instance, tchina, he was grinding it. So on Shabbos he's chayiv two chatos. What is it referring to when it says other mitzvahs? Not like that. It's talking specifically avodah zarah. It's talking about the yisur of being oved avodah zarah. Okay, Ravami. Like Ravami says, if he's oved avodah zarah in different manners, he did zivach, and then he kitter, and he burnt it, so, and then or he was menasech and he poured the wine. So he did the different components of the avodah, of the hakrava. He did all of these different components. He's only chayav one. Ein chayav alachas. If it's in one helam and one act of forgetfulness, so he's makriv the korban, and he burns it for avodah zarah, and he burns the korban for avodah zarah, and he does nisucha, he pours the wine for avodah zarah. He does all these different components. Behelam echad, he's only chayiv one. Shabbos, he does the different components of the Isser Shabbos, Malacha Shabbos. He does different avos malachas, and he's chayiv on every av malacha. How can you sign the Bryce that we're talking about avodah zarah? Ema seifa, the seifa says chaymer b'shar mitzvahs, that other mitzvahs have a chumrah over Shabbos. Shebishar mitzvahs shagag b'loy miskav and chayiv. Other mitzvahs, if he's a shagag without having kavana, he's chayiv mashenkin b'Shabbos, which is not the case by Shabbos. So now the Gemara analyzes. Hi, shagag b'loy miskav and avodah zarah echidam. So if we're talking about avodah zarah, you said the Reish is talking about avodah zarah, so presumably the Seifa is also talking about avodah zarah. So what is the case where shagag v'loy miskaven in avodah zarah that you say he is chayiv? What is the case we're talking? If you mean to say that there was a building, a person thought it was a shul, it really was a base of avodah zarah, and he bowed down over there. Well, what do you mean he's chayiv? He is not being avodah zarah. He's not serving the avodah zarah. He thinks he's bowing down to Hashem. So that's not avodah zarah at all. So that can't be the case. Perhaps you'll say it's talking where there is a statue, let's say a statue made for the honor of a king, and he bowed down to this statue of the king. So what are the circumstances? If he's taking upon himself as an avodah zarah that he is now the statue of the king, he's taking it upon his tree an avodah zarah, and he's serving it as avodah zarah, then mezidu, then he's a mezid. So what do you mean he's not over here that it's shoygi b'loy miskaven. It's not shoygi b'loy miskaven. He's doing b'mezeh. And if he doesn't accept it as an avodah zarah, lav klumu, it's not avodah zarah. He's not serving the avodah zarah at all. Perhaps you'll say the case is talking about avomir, that it's not a statue of the king. It is an avodah zarah, and he's bowing down to it not because he really believes in it, not because he is really serving it as an avodah zarah. He doesn't believe in it. But he's doing it either to find favor in somebody's eyes, or he's afraid of somebody. It's either me'avas, ava of somebody who is doing it for, or he's afraid of somebody, and somebody is, that's why he's doing it. So he's doing it for those purposes. He's not serving it as an avodah zarah per se, but he is bowing down to an avodah zarah. So it's different than the previous case, where it's not an avodah zarah, and if he doesn't believe in it, then there's no avodah zarah. There's not serving the avodah zarah in any way. But here, this is a statue that people serve as an avodah zarah. It is an avodah zarah that people serve. If he bows down to it, now he's bowing down to it, not that he's accepting it as avodah zarah, but he's doing ma'avayir. So, you could understand the Bryce according to a Abai that says in such a case it's considered serving the avodah zarah and he's chayev, and then you can have this case of shogeg. It's shogeg b'loy miskaven. It's called shogeg because this person is shogeg. He thinks under these circumstances it's mutter for him to do it, and in fact, according to Abai, that it's also to do it. So it's considered a shogeg. He's a shogeg with avodah zarah, but he's lo miskaven. He's not intending to serve it as avodah zarah. So then you can construe the case according to Abai. It is avodah zarah, and he's a shogeg. He thinks that it's ma'avayir, it's mutter, but it's not. And he's a shogeg, but lo miskaven. And it's telling you then such a case is chai. But according to Rava says this is not considered serving the avodah zarah, and it's potter. So therefore, you don't have a case over here of avodah zarah, and it's not called shogeg b'loy miskaven, and to be chayv, it's not avodah zarah. He's not chayv according to Rava, so that can't be the case. And as the Achronim point out, however, it's not to say that according to Rava, this is mutter. It's not mutter. It's also to do it. Mahavir is also. However, it's not a chiyuv of avodah zarah. It's not considered serving the avodah zarah, and therefore there is no chiyuv of chatas over here. It's not considered avodah zarah. Ella, perhaps. So, what is the case over here? How can we contrast the two? Ella boimer mutter. Perhaps you'll say that the case by avodah zarah is talking where it is an avodah zarah, and he's serving the avodah zarah, and he's intending to serve the avodah zarah, but he thinks it's mutter. He doesn't know that it's also to serve avodah zarah. He thinks that it's mutter. He hasn't been taught that it's also to serve avodah zarah, or that he was taught and he forgot. So from Rashi, it's mashma that he was never taught, but that is a little difficult because then the Achronim ask, then how could there be a gerus? He's talking about a ger. Rashi says that and ger that wasn't taught, and he was Skyer ben Anochrem. Rashi says, and he thinks that it's mutter. It's difficult. The Achronim asks the question that it's difficult because then it's not a valid gerus. But perhaps the pshat is he was taught, but he was raised by goyim, so he forgot that it's also. So it's oimer mutter. So nevertheless, by avodah zarah, even though he's oimer mutter, so perhaps that's what we're saying is shogeg b'loy miskaven, and he's chayiv. Mashenkin b'Shabbos, in contrast to Shabbos, the potter legamri. So practically Gemara, how could you say that? So Ela boimer mutter mashen b'Shabbat the potter legamri. How could that be? Ad kan like a boimine Rav Nachman ela ilachiv v'char el chiv. If a person by Shabbos he's shogeg b'zel b'zem, then he's a shogeg. He doesn't know that today's Shabbos, and he doesn't know that the malachas are also. He's shogeg of both. So Rava had the shaila. How do we treat this? Is Yichayim one chatas or two? Is Yichayim for each malacha or only one? Aval mitri legamri loy. But certainly he's not potter legamre. He's not completely potter. So how can that be the case? If this is oimer mutter, then on Shabbos he's also chayiv. So what do you mean that this is a chumrah that avodah zarah has over Shabbos? Elo, the Gemara says, "Lalav reisha ba'ak." Must be that the Reisha is talking about Avodah Zorah, like we said before. And we're contrasting Shabbos if he is Katzar v'Tochan, and Shabbos is Chayiv two Chatos. Mashain Kain Avodah Zorah, that is Zivach v'Nisach v'Kiter, then he is Chayiv Zivach v'Kiter v'Nisach, he's Chayiv only one. V'Seifa, however, the Seifa is not talking about Avodah Zorah. V'Seifa b'Shar Mitzvahs. And the Seifa is talking about Shar Mitzvahs. And now the Gemara will discuss it by other mitzvahs, the Shagah B'Loi Miskavin, and the difference between them and Shabbos, and which will lead to Rava bringing the Raya as to why he says that if he is Miskavin Lachtach Esa Tol Shochatach Esa Mechuber, that he's Potter, which we'll see Bez Hashem on Daf Ayin Gimel.